Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage today's host, Dan Michaels.
Good afternoon, everybody, and once again, welcome to the 53rd class of the Bison Athletic Hall of Fame. Hope that lunch is great. If you're not finished, please keep enjoying your lunch, and let's give a round of applause for the Holiday Inn for their great lunch today. As we prepare to enshrine the 2025 Bison Athletic Hall of Fame inductees, let's welcome the past honorees who are here with us today. Would you please rise and remain standing when you hear your name? We've got a lot of big stars in the room, ladies and gentlemen. Let's start with Zandra Bina. Marcus Johnson. Don Larson. Craig Bull. The coach, Shelley Rowetter. Shelley. Jennifer Odette. Tricia Sear. Julie Pashy. Mary Kosmatka. Kelly Lehman. Amy Ruley. Jamie Adams. Jane Gust. Pat Simmers. Lynn Dorn. Lee Peterson. Alan Fisher. Nikki Gregg. Sarah Schmitz. Justin Fletchock. And Andy Bowen. Let's give them all a big round of applause. So good to see you all here. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Larson hit the ground running when he arrived as NDSU's 18th Director of Athletics in October of 2014, guiding important growth in facilities, fundraising, scholarships, budget, and staff. Matt balances a budget that has grown from $18 million to $31 million with increased spending in student-athlete facilities, scholarships, and new revenues through multiple media rights, corporate partnerships, and annual giving. He was recognized as the NACDA Athletics Director of the Year in 2018-2019, and again last year, 24-25. NDSU's 8 men's and 8 women's sports combined for an impressive 58 conference championships, as well as 7 NCAA football national titles during Matt's tenure. In the classroom, NDSU student athletes averaged a 3.4 GPA from 2020 to 2024, set a semester GPA record of 3.5 in the fall of 2024, and had 55% of student athletes make the Dean's List with a 3.5 or better GPA over those 10 semesters. Nationally, Matt served as chair of the NCAA Division I Softball Committee for the 2021 season to close out a 4-year term on the committee. He followed that with 4 years on the NCAA Division I Football Committee and served as chair in 2024. He's also been a Missouri Valley Football Conference representative on the FCS Regional Advisory Committee. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome the Director of Athletics at North Dakota State University, Mr. Matt Larson.
Well, thanks, Dan, and good afternoon and welcome. You know, it's an interesting time in college athletics now, but what I love about homecoming weekend and the week's festivities, it's probably one of the busiest weeks we have throughout the year, and I think come Sunday, everybody does a collective exhale and catches their breath, but what an unbelievable way to not just celebrate athletics, but celebrate NDSU and our history and our tradition. And I was talking with Coach Bull when he came in just a little while ago, and what I love of the amount of current Hall of Fame members that come back every year just goes to show not just how important our Hall of Fame is, them wanting to share the success of this year's inductees, but just how special NDSU is. And so this is always a great weekend when you have people who haven't been back to campus in a long time come back and see the changes, see the transformation of campus, see the transformation of facilities, and then see the transformation of our community as well. So, but this is one of our signature events throughout the course of the year, and something that's near and dear to many of us here in NDSU athletics, because no other ceremony or game throughout the year more greatly emphasizes the power and tradition of Bison athletics. The current Hall of Fame members represent the best of the best that have worn a Bison uniform and have helped lay an incredible foundation that still stands today, and our student athletes have the opportunity to compete upon. A special welcome home to our inductees today. Before I make some brief remarks, there are some people I want to recognize for their support of this event, but unbelievable support throughout the year. And first, President Cook and his wife, Kate Cook. As I mentioned, this is a really, really busy weekend, and so for them to take time out of their schedule to be here, and I think it just speaks to their understanding and appreciation of how important Bison athletics is on campus in our community and as we grow and move NDSU forward. So appreciate all your support today, but certainly throughout the year. Our Hall of Fame committee, and Lee Peterson and Ryan Peralt do an unbelievable job, and what I've loved about being here and being part of that committee for the last 10, 11 years now is just how hard it is to get into the NDSU Hall of Fame. The bar is incredibly high, and you'll hear about our inductees today, but what's really neat is we have some administrators, but it's mostly comprised of people who are current Hall of Fame members. And what I love hearing the debate and the discussion, and they too want to keep the bar incredibly high. And so really grateful for the work that group does, and as you'll see today, we have an unbelievable class here in 25. So a round of applause for that group as well. I want to echo what Dan said too. Thanks to the Holiday Inn for the incredible meal. Thanks to Livewire. And then we have a number of staff members who transformed this facility. And it was always important to have the Hall of Fame on campus in our facilities, to have you truly be welcomed home to Bison athletics. So there's a number of our staff who put a lot of time and energy in behind the scenes to make today possible. So just want to recognize them quickly. Chris Ann Mock, Emily Sumner, Scott Walken, Nathan Burrell, Robbie Sparks, and Drake Thomas. So a quick round of applause for those folks as well. There's also two really special groups here. The first is our coaches and our staff that are also here in attendance as well. And this is a group that I get to come to work with every single day. And the passion and the commitment and the sacrifice that those folks make on behalf of our student athletes to make sure they have an unbelievable experience on and off the fields and courts and tracks of competition, but are really vested in them as people and wanting to develop them to be incredibly successful when they leave NDSU. So to our coaches and our staff, thanks so much for your commitment to Bison athletics. And my last group I want to recognize quickly is we have a number of our senior student athletes here, and what's been a nice tradition, we've always invited them to this, and I think for a couple reasons. One, they've been a Bison now for 4 or 5 years. They understand the sacrifice and what it takes and the hard work and the Bison standard that we talk about a lot. But now you get a chance to see people who've walked in your shoes, who've helped lay the foundation and have had incredible careers that you now get a chance to perform upon the foundation that they've laid. And so you'll hear from the people today, unbelievable athletes and leaders at NDSU, but have gone on to be really successful in life. And so no better role models for our current student athletes than the people you're going to meet today. So, but really grateful for our student athletes being here today, the hard work, the things that they do to represent NDSU and our state and our university in a great way. So thank you all for being here. So next month I'll be starting my 12th year here at NDSU, and this is my 11th Hall of Fame. And when I think about the Bison Athletic Hall of Fame, a few words come to mind: excellence, high standard, determination, character, and of course, and probably most importantly, Bison pride. Today we celebrate a group that exemplifies these characteristics and has had incredible impact on the NDSU of today. This class is reflective of NDSU in general, success and greatness at all levels. I'm privileged to induct them into the NDSU Athletics Hall of Fame, but just a couple list of accomplishments from this group. Collectively, 19 All-America honors, 3 academic All-America honors, 2 team national champion members, 1 NCAA postgraduate scholarship recipient, 2 professional athletes, a Super Bowl champion, a visionary leader, and the driving force behind the transition to Division I. Pretty outstanding group. Not only have today's inductees excelled in their sport and in leadership, but their different stories represent the levels of excellence throughout Bison athletics, whether it was individual efforts that garnered national success or being part of a team coming together to reach the pinnacle of their sport. Each of them performed at the highest levels and are now a permanent part of the fabric of NDSU athletics. I'm honored to welcome each of you into the Bison Athletics Hall of Fame as the class of 2025. So a sincere congratulations to Andrew, Nikki, Alan, Crystal, Craig, Janna, Brian, and Joe. Thanks again for joining us today. Enjoy the celebration, and go Bison.
Well, let's get this shindig underway. The 13th president of North Dakota State University from 1999 to 2009. His tenure was marked by significant growth and transformative initiatives across all facets of the institution, including athletics. He led the monumental decision to reclassify from Division II to Division I, a strategic move to elevate NDSU's profile. So 6 sports, volleyball, men's basketball, wrestling, softball, men's track and field, and women's track and field advanced to NCAA postseason competition by 2008-2009, the first year of the school's certificate in Division I. NDSU saw enrollment rise from 9,600 to 14,200, while increasing doctoral programs from 18 to 44 and research expenditures from $44 million to $115.5 million. NDSU earned R2 status as a Carnegie Research Institution for the first time. The university established a research and technology park in 2001, attracting major companies and creating new jobs. Major building projects included expansion into downtown with Berry Hall for the College of Business, Department of Agribusiness and Applied Economics, Center for Global Initiatives and Leadership, and the North Dakota Trade Office. NDSU also opened Renaissance Hall and Cly Hall downtown. He and his wife, Gail, currently reside in Colorado. They are the parents of 2 daughters, Valerie and Jennifer, and have 4 grandchildren. It is our pleasure to introduce for induction into the Bison Athletic Hall of Fame, Joseph Chapman.
I can't tell you how great it is to be back on campus. What's gone on here is just phenomenal. When President Cook and Athletic Director Larson called me and told me about this honor, I was, to be honest with you, I was blown away. And when they said, well, would you accept? I said, what? Of course I'll accept. And so, being here, I think I speak for my whole family. When we left here, I had Valerie and Mike. Now I come back with a whole family with grandkids and what have you, and I'm so proud of them, just like I'm so proud of all of you. This has been an amazing journey that I've been able to be a part of. What's going on now with President Cook and First Lady Kate, it's just amazing. Things are continuing and they're growing. I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge, though, the folks that really made this happen when I was here, and that's our student athletes. And it's amazing. Many of the athletes that are being honored here are the very athletes that made this possible. And one of the things I was asked was, would you give us some anecdotes? And I will do that. But first, I want to go through and make sure I acknowledge the people that really made this happen. And that, of course, includes the students and faculty. We have an amazing community, and it starts there. The student athletes, we could not have done what we did without those student athletes. It's one thing to say we're going to go to the next level, but to get to the next level, you're not the one doing it. The one that's doing it are the people that are on the field. And men and women athletes here are extraordinary, as you all know. We had wonderful support from the faculty. We had an incredible faculty rep, Delane Myers, who is here today, amazing person. The team makers, foundation, everybody that contributed to this made it possible. It just would not have happened without those folks. But I also want to take a little time to acknowledge some of the people that you may not think about. When I was president, the chancellor was Larry Isaac, and as I think most of you who are involved in this know, there was a lot of resistance from certain quarters about having this happen. And at the time, it was Gene Taylor and I. We had to spend a lot of time talking to people who had a lot of say in what was going to happen. And at a board meeting, there was an attempt to make it a policy that institutions could not go to Division I, or that's what the issue was at the time, without this express approval of the Board of Higher Education. And I always remember in that meeting, which was pretty tense, Larry Isaac got up and said, "This is not a decision for this board." He said, "This is a decision for the president and NDSU. This is not our decision. This is where we don't fit in." And that was huge. And he succeeded in taking the Board of Higher Education in a direction where they said, "Okay, if this is what you want to do, we will support you." Another group that was important, of course, was the legislature and the governor. We had a hearing. Some of you may remember, we were called into a hearing, and the topic was, should we pass a law to make it illegal for NDSU to go to Division I? And there were some great moments in that, and this is where I'll tell you an anecdote. We had, I think Keith may remember this, certainly probably Coach Bull and some of the others that worked at the time. They may have actually been able to do something like that. And in the course of this meeting, there was a person who was very prominent that was a big supporter of another institution. And this person got up and said, I'll never forget it, got up and he said, President Chapman, he said, this body is so proud of everything that you've been doing. We don't want you to waste 1 minute of your precious time on this silly Division I stuff. And I'll never forget that. And I thought, this is a turning point moment. I remember I looked at him and I said, it was actually Representative Wald. I said, Representative Wald, there's great news. And you could feel the whole room go, he's going to say they're not doing it. And I said, I have lots of energy. And I will never forget Dave Nething, who was president of the Senate. He banged the gavel and said, this hearing is over. And that was the end of that. But what happened before that, which was really critical, Dave Nething came to me before the hearing, and he said, Joe, I need to know, will you commit to me that you won't invest a whole bunch of state money in this? And I said, yeah. I said, because we have a team maker group, we have an alumni group, we have a foundation, we'll make it happen. He said, that's all I need to know. He was critical. He cut it off, it was over, and then we were on our way. I should also mention, along with Dave Nething, Senator Flacco, Rick Berg, and Tony Grenberg. They were also very important in this process. Lastly, the last group I want to acknowledge, and this may surprise some of you, is South Dakota State, Peggy Miller and David Shequin. They were partners in this all the way through. And Peggy Miller was my colleague at the time, and they got on board right away. They wanted to do it, and so did Northern Colorado. And at a North Central meeting we were having, we were in this meeting, and Peggy and I brought up to the conference, we said, you know, maybe we ought to think about the whole conference going to Division I. And a president of another institution that I won't mention said, this is ridiculous. We're not going to do this. He said, if you want to do this, why don't you just go away and do it? And I'll never forget Hank Brown, who was the president of Northern Colorado. He stood up in the meeting. He closed his notebook and he said, great idea. And he just walked out of the room. And so we had to go then through some machinations. But there were a lot of critical points at which Peggy Miller at the time really, really helped out. And one of the critical junctures, and actually I was visiting with Jeff Kopak about this just the other day, we were at a meeting when we were actually making a move, and there was a good chance that we were going to get into the Missouri Valley Conference, or the Valley Conference that you're in now. And we were in the meeting, then was President Shequin. We're in the meeting, and we're all sitting around in the meeting, and I'll never forget it. One of the presidents of one of the institutions that was in the conference said, I have a question for you. He said, if we just wanted one of your institutions, would that be acceptable with you? And kind of looked, and then he looked at the group, and he was talking about the Fargo Dome. He said, he said, do you want to recruit against the Fargo Dome? He said, do you want to recruit against these facilities? And they all were like, oh, I don't know. And he said, so I ask again, would one of you consider going without the other? And Dave Shequin said, we go together or we don't go. If he had said, we're happy to go, I don't know how that would have turned out. So I will always be thankful to South Dakota State for what they did. Now, I expect you guys to beat them in everything, but they were crucial, and they were great partners in all of this. Now, I'd like to give you a few little anecdotes. One is this is for Coach Bowen. Coach, I can't tell you how great it is to see you. This, and you'll remember this. Gail and I were at a nostalgic meeting, and we were just in this transitional period. And maybe Craig will remember this, but we're in a dinner party, and Gail and I are chumming up like presidents do and what have you. And all of a sudden, George Dennison, president of the University of Montana at the time, bang, 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 gets up. He says, Joe, he said, I just want to say, I understand you're coming to play us in football. And I, being happy Joe, I said, yeah. And he looked at me and he said, we're going to kick the crap out of you in front of all these people. I came back and I called Coach Bowl and I told Gene, and I'll never forget, Coach said to me, he said that to you? And I said, yeah. And then he said, well, we'll see about that. And I'll never forget. Of course, you remember, we ended up beating them 24-23, I think it was. And Coach Bowl, in fact, when I was walking in, they had all their alumni right in our face, and they were yelling. I remember they were saying, 20 steps down, 200 steps out. They were chanting all that. And George Dennison was smirking around. Oh, God, I love that moment. And but anyway, I think it was a flea flicker play right at the end. But at any rate, we ended up beating them by 1 point. And as Coach Bowl and the team went by, I'll never forget, Coach Bowl went like that as he walked by. And later, they gave me a teddy bear that had a T-shirt on that said, NDSU 24, University of Montana 23. I still have that. Thank Coach Bowl. And the other one, another one I'll tell you was the Star Tribune. When we made this transition, I, like many university presidents, and President Cook, I'm sure, has experienced already many times, occasionally you get a press that's not so much fun. And they wrote an article, and they named me, the Star Tribune named me the Turkey of the Year, because we even thought we could play in sports against the Gophers. And we went, I'll never forget that, we went there, we went through all of that. It's a long story short, I think we beat them 27 maybe to 14, something like that. And that was an amazing experience. I have a football with all that on it I'm very proud of. That was an amazing moment for it. I never heard about being called the Turkey of the Year again after that. The second time that happened was, and I think Amy's here, the Gophers said they would come and I think they'd play us here in our own sports facilities, women's basketball. And we beat them here, and then they told me they would never come back. And I don't know if they've been back or not since, but we have had an amazing journey together. And I can't tell you how proud I am of all that you've done. I look around, I see these facilities, I look at where you are, I look at where you're going. You guys know where you're going. It's amazing. It's so great to be here with you. I look forward to the chance to visit with you again. And thank you so much for this honor. When I got that call from President Cook and Athletic Director Larson, for me, it was an emotional moment, because actually I had not been back on campus for 15 years. So this is quite a date for Gail and I, and my whole family, most of whom didn't even exist then. So we're so pleased to be here. So thank you so much for this honor. It's incredible.
Our next inductee today is a graduate of Mound West Tonka High School in Minnesota. She competed in diving, gymnastics, was part of the state championship softball team in 1997 before coming to North Dakota State. The starting left fielder on the 2000 NCAA Division II National Championship softball team, she helped North Dakota State advance to 4 NCAA tournaments and win a pair of North Central Region championships. The Bison compiled a 238-45 record during her career and won the 1999 North Central Conference title and placed 5th nationally in 1999. A 2-time All-NCC performer, she was All-North Central Region twice, including first-team honors in 2000. She was a 3-time NCC Player of the Week. She had a career .342 batting average with 23 home runs and 153 RBIs over 243 games, including 228 starts. She stole 56 bases in 67 attempts, scored 140 runs, and hit 35 doubles. On the NDSU career charts, she finished 2nd in walks, 3rd in home runs and RBIs, and 6th in hits, total bases, and runs scored. Currently residing in Waconia, Minnesota with her husband Josh, she's been a stay-at-home mom for the past 20 years with the couple's 6 kids, Isaiah, Caleb, Ariana, Isabella, Jacob, and Elnora. It is our pleasure to introduce for induction into the Bison Athletic Hall of Fame, Nikki Almquist Mead.
Thank you. I'll start by, I did not get my degree in public speaking, so I'll do my best. First, I would like to thank, of course, the NDSU Hall of Fame Committee. Being nominated was humbling and surreal. I'm moved by the honor and the recognition of that. I'm here today because of many people who have poured over me over all of the years, starting at a young age. From the coaches that pushed me to levels that I didn't know I could reach, thank you. To my teammates who took that crazy journey alongside me for all those years and all those hours, thank you. Of course, my mom and dad who never stopped believing me ever, and my family that is verbally proud of me in this accomplishment. I appreciate you standing behind me in this moment. When I came to NDSU, I was just a kid from a smaller town who really just wanted to keep playing the game. Over 4 years, I grew not only as a ball player, but as a person. My collegiate softball taught me so many different life lessons and skills, which I'll share here. Our group was special. We weren't just teammates, we were a tribe. We loved the game, we genuinely loved to play. We respected how each of us could mentally and physically do really hard things that we didn't know we could do. There was never a vibe of internal competition with each other. We all wanted to get better, we liked winning, and we wanted to do more of that, so we tried to figure that out. Because we liked each other off the field, it made it really easy to cheer for each other on the field and in the gym and in the weight room. And the truth is, I think if you were to ask an outsider to look at any of the teams I was on and said, who do you think is the best player? Or the best coach? They wouldn't really be able to pin that down because the leadership would develop when the situation would arise, and that person would just step into those roles. That was one of our greatest strengths, I think, over all of the years. We were strong across the board in different ways, and the time would come, and they would just step into that. We had backup pitchers who would step up to clinch NCAA appearances for us. We had retired pitching coaches that would come in and help develop some of the best hitting teams in the nation. I said we had pinch runners that, in my opinion, win championships and pave the way. You'll never convince me otherwise. Everybody knew their role, and they wanted to do it well, and we all cheered for each other to do that. So in our group that I was a part of, we did the small things well. We lived by a look good, play good mentality. You better be ready to go with your belt on and your visor in hand. We had Bison time. I don't know if that's still a thing, but it's at least 20 minutes early to anything you had to be at because none of us were running because somebody was running a little bit late. Everybody went to the training room after practices and games. Whether you needed therapy or not, you might as well just get it checked out. We hosted Wednesday night 90210 night at our house or somebody's apartment after long practice days. We still would hang out even if we didn't have to. Our families, like my parents and my players' families, they grew to know us over the years, and they loved us as we were their own. We drilled those fundamentals until they were second nature to us, and we would quietly steer each other towards good life choices off the field because none of us were interested in running forever because of a teammate's small misstep of an immature choice. We were all there for each other all the time. All of those small things add up, and they paid off for us. From performances under pressure, record-breaking seasons, and a national title. Practice doesn't make perfect, in my opinion, it makes habit. And our culture in our gym was little things matter, so let's do them well. So the 4 years at NDSU that they gave me, the life skills that go far beyond the field that I could think of when trying to decide what to mention to everybody was to never quit. I can do anything for a certain amount of time if you tell me how long that time is. That I can do hard things. I will admit, the first week of practice, I didn't realize I joined the track team as well. I had only ran about 180 feet at one time at all until I got here, and I was like, distance? What are we doing here? So I learned that. Put others first, and you will get what you want at the end. Be a part of something bigger than yourself. If somebody yells at you, it's probably because they believe in you, not the opposite, so don't take it personally. Everyone is bad before they're great. Everything that is new is hard until it becomes easy. It could be from tying your shoes, long division, hitting a rise ball, talking in front of a bunch of people you don't know. to becoming parents. Just keep practicing, it will get easier. To be a lifelong learner, this is something that I really think I did a lot in the 4 years I was there, from the day I came to on. You have your successes, and having certain exposures. I was a hitter. I mean, I played left field, but I was there for that presence in the lineup, and they start to figure you out, and frustration grows when I wasn't getting as many pitches to hit and kind of pressuring and whatever. And I remember having a conversation with the coaches about having productive at-bats, and we came together to point out that I became a really good bunter, because it's a lot easier to bunt a mediocre pitch than to hit it a really long ways. And I was so fortunate to have so many amazing athletes early in the lineup in front of me that were always on base. So it didn't really matter how I would get them in. So like, the suicide squeeze became my favorite play, and we perfected that. To learn how to bunt for a hit, to try and get the girl to throw the ball into right field and make something happen. You know, as a maturity level of realizing, like, you don't have to hit a double off the fence. I started getting walked a lot, and I remember talking to Darren and being like, this is so boring, you know? And so, but if they would put me on base, I learned how to perfect my sliding. And so if I could get on second base and steal, I still ended up on second. It just might not have been a double off the fence. It just took one more pitch to get there. And that's still productivity. So just to continue to learn things throughout life as obstacles come before you, to kind of figure out how to get over that. And then the last thing too, I wanted to, like, life skill that I learned was that you really never can get to the absolute pinnacle of anything. National championship was our goal, alone, ever. It takes hard work, the help of God, that will steer you down the roads of life that you want to travel. And everybody needs to know their role and to be willing to do it well. Even if you think you can get, whether it's business or parenting or teams or programs and culture, like, you cannot do those things all by yourself. And so figuring that out early and finding your tribe is really helpful. In a current world that seems obsessed with names, personal image, and public likeness, back when I was there, I was just a kid who loved to play. That's it. Let's go play some ball. Let's get better every day. Evidently, that was enough to turn it into a Hall of Fame career. Who'd have thought? We were highly competitive, but never with each other. We were engaged. We lifted each other up. We grew. It was not always perfect, so don't hear what I'm not saying, but the messy is what made it awesome. Today, as my husband Josh and I raise our kids, we teach them a lot of those same lessons: to do the small things well, encourage others, take pride in what you do, show up, even if it's for a little bit, because showing up makes somebody else's heart smile, and your cup gets filled in the goodness. I heard recently, and I also believe, that a selfish people is a depressed people, and that happiness comes from encouraging others to do scary things and to believe in them before they even believe in themselves. And I certainly had that here in the NDSU softball program. A verse I like is Philippians 2:3 that says, "Do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourself." That is something that I learned on those fields and in those dugouts time and time again. Now, years later, I run into many of my teammates, and it feels like no time has passed. That's the mark of a special tribe of athletes who became family along the way. Decades later, I can count on any of them for anything, or their families for that matter, at any time, no matter what. And I love that. I gained that from being here, from deciding to come to NDSU. So to everybody who believed in me, pushed me, coached me, competed alongside me, prayed for me, cheered for me, thank you. This honor reflects all of you more than it does myself. So let's continue to do the small things well, in God's glory, and may the big things continue to take care of themselves. Go Bison.
A football, basketball, and track and field standout at Stephen Argyle Central He was the quarterback and an all-state defensive back for the Minnesota nine-man state championship football team his senior year, before going on to win state titles in the 110-meter high hurdles and the triple jump. A 5-time Division II All-American and 7-time North Central Conference champion at North Dakota State, he ran on 3 straight NCC champion and All-America 4x400 indoor relays and placed 3rd and 2nd in the decathlon behind 2-time NDSU national champion and Bison Hall of Famer Nathan Schmidt. Ineligible for the NCAA championships his final season due to NDSU's Division I reclassification, his personal best score of 7,641 points in the decathlon his senior year would have won the 2005 Division II National Championship and ranked 5th in the Division I title. He won 2 North Central Conference indoor titles in the triple jump, 1 in the outdoor triple jump, and 1 in the outdoor 4x100 relay before winning a Division I independent championship in the triple jump his senior year. He competed in 26 different events over his career. He once held the school records in the pentathlon, decathlon, the 4x400 relay, and still holds the 4x200 relay record. A graduate of NDSU's civil engineering program, he was an NCAA postgraduate scholarship winner and a 2-time academic All-American, 1 in Division II and 1 in Division I. Named to the Prairie Business 40 Under 40 list of outstanding young professionals, he currently works for Moore Engineering and lives in Fargo with his wife Amanda and their 4 children, Annika, Natalie, Morgan, and Isaac. We are proud to welcome for induction into the Bison Athletic Hall of Fame, Andrew Aakre. Andrew.
Nikki alluded to this just a minute ago. I also do not have a degree in public speaking. However, I think I'm much more prepared today than I was when I graduated here. So I'm going to take a cue from Coach Lars, who said over and over and over again, be good, be brief, and be gone. So I'm going to try to uphold that standard. A big thank you to the Hall of Fame Committee. As I stand here today, this is an incredible honor. It's really surreal. There are so many greats that have come through the NDSU athletic programs. Congratulations to the fellow inductees here today. It really hasn't set in for me yet. I'd like to acknowledge a number of people. I've got some thank yous, and I'd like to talk about a few things that I learned while I was here and then have taken with me as I've gone on into my career. First, I want to start with Coach Lars. Coach Lars saw something in me as a high school athlete, and he gave me an opportunity here to really become a better version of myself. Lars, you got the best out of me, I think. You did it in a way that was unique to you, and you never raised your voice, but you really had a way of getting your point across. And you did it with a great sense of humor that still exists today. So I appreciate everything that you put in to the track program, to myself, and appreciate that I've been able to stay in contact with you even after my playing career has completed. So I really appreciate you and what you have done for me over the years. You've also been very generous with your time and made my family, my parents, my wife, really feel part of the program while I was here and certainly afterwards. That means a lot to me, so thank you. Coach Keller. Coach Keller was an incoming coach. Stevie and I arrived back at NDSU at the same time. I was a freshman, he came back to coach. And I think I felt like a guinea pig a lot of days. Stevie, you had incredible patience. There were there were a lot of things you had to teach me. You had to show me what a pole vault pole was. I still am not sure if I ever really adequately gained the knowledge that you were trying to impart, but you had a lot of patience. You were very persistent, never gave up on me, pushed me, and again, I've been able to stay in contact since my career has been over, and it's been fun to see what you've now done with the track programs here. The long line of success and the history that both the men's and women's track has here at NDSU is unparalleled. And even though I was a Division II athlete when I came here, I did not feel like I had a Division II experience. Even then, the places that we got to go, Boston, Miami, Austin, Texas, Los Angeles, we competed against the best, future Olympians, Division I athletes, and they gave us the opportunities to really show the rest of the country that there are really good athletes from the upper Midwest, and we had a lot of fun doing it. So thank you, Stevie, for all the time and energy and the patience that you put in and gave to me. My teammates, there are more than I wish I could name them all individually, but we had a lot of fun. Traveling, competing, practicing, bus rides. Without each and every one of you, and there's a number of you here today, without each and every one of you, my experience here would not have been the same. And I got to meet folks from all over the upper Midwest and just really enjoyed the experience. Thank you for welcoming me onto the team and for helping me be better each and every day. I do want to single out one teammate, however. Nate Schmidt was my freshman roommate. He was my 4-year training partner, competitor. Nate and I competed every single day. And by every single day, I mean every single day. Nate made me better every practice, every competition, every walk to the dining center. Nate and I landscaped together for 2 summers even, and by landscaping, I mean racing wheelbarrows, racing rock mulch, racing plantings, moving block. We competed at everything. He made me bring my lunch pail to practice every single day, and I am much better. I had much more success because of it. I'd like to think that I pushed him along as well, but I know that I got a lot out of those practices and just everyday interactions. My family, my parents, I would like to start with my parents' life and Cheryl. Dad taught me a lot of things that I didn't realize I was learning. And one thing I'd like to highlight in particular was teaching me to do the right thing and not cut corners. And I've got a frayed extension cord back at the farm to prove it. But I learned those things and tried to translate those to my college life as best as possible. And I don't think I really appreciated what you taught me while I was at home on the farm, but I certainly realized it much more after the fact, and thank you for every single thing that you did. My mom traveled quite a bit to watch competitions. I think I scared her to death the first time she saw me pole vault. Most professional pole vaulters they have the same kind of style. I had my own style. It looked more like a helicopter than a pole vaulter. But she kept coming back, and she followed me around as much as possible. And even though I probably didn't say much before or after, you probably would like a little more interaction, she kept showing up and supporting me and encouraging me. So thank you both. I love you both very much. My wife, Amanda, and 4 kids. Amanda was my girlfriend at the time, and like I mentioned, Lars made her very much at home and welcome. And she supported me during my career here at NDSU. We got married just after I graduated, and I can't think of a better partner, spouse, wife. I'm so glad that we're spending life together and raising these 4 kids that I just enjoy raising so much. I'm proud of each and every one of you. So thank you, Amanda. I love you. I'd like to just talk about a couple things that I learned. As I was contemplating stories, there's 1,000 stories that going through my head. There's really a couple of stories that really stick out and kind of summarize the experience that I had here. I came into college, and Lars never cut anybody. At least I don't think he cut anybody. But that first year, there were the track team, it was huge. And I think Lars maybe decided that he maybe should try to thin the crowd out a little bit organically. So he put us through this circuit, which involved running 400s, and then in between the 400s, it was a set of ab and core workout. And that was not my strong suit. I don't remember if I finished last or if I was close to last. I hated it. I felt very inadequate. But I remember thinking after that workout was done that I never, ever, ever wanted to feel that again. And it motivated me to give an honest effort every single day in practice, and more importantly, the next summer, to maintain a certain level of shape so that I didn't show up to practice the next fall and have to go through that again. I found out later that Lars and Stevie were talking about that practice, that workout, and one of them mentioned to the other that Aakre sure wasn't in very good shape. So just know that motivated me to bring the energy every single day, and I think I tried to do that. The other thing that I'll really take away is mental toughness. That was really the standard with Lars's track teams, and I think one story exemplifies that very well. We were hosting the outdoor conference meet here at NDSU, and I think it was maybe 2003, and the weather for the weekend was awful. It was late April, early May. It was terrible. It was wet, cold, rainy. 39 degrees. I see Marcus nodding his head. Yeah, it was miserable. And Friday's meet, instead of prelims, there was maybe a race or two or maybe a throwing event outside, and they just postponed everything and moved everything to Saturday. Lars brought us all in to the meeting room to kind of give us the idea of what was going to happen the next day. And he did not sugarcoat it. He said, it's not going to be any better tomorrow. It is going to be cold, wet, windy, rainy. That's not going to matter. We have a track meet to compete in, and we're going to go out and compete like the Bison do. The other teams are not going to want to be there, but we're going to go up and show up and compete. And once you know what we did, I don't remember how many points we scored. It was 300 something the next day. Lars was absolutely right. The other teams did not want to be there. I just remember I was part of the 400 race that day, and I finished 4th behind 3 of my teammates. And I remember coming down the home stretch, looking out in front of me. There's Reese and Jared and Marcus. And I thought to myself, this is really weird. At the end of a 400, rarely am I thinking about anything other than just the next step. But the thought occurred to me that the route was on. And we didn't care about the weather. We were having fun. We were celebrating. And the mental toughness, and Lars set the tone, that it took to get through that meet. That's just one example of a meet, but I'll never forget that. And Lars had a way, again, of instilling that in each and every one of us, or he tried to. And for those of us that grasped onto it, we really had a lot of success. And I've been able to translate that to many things in my career and at home, to just try to block out the noise and focus on what we can control. I think the last thing that I'll say is that one of the things that I've really grown to appreciate about track and field is that the clock, the tape measure, they do not lie. The track does not care what uniform you're wearing, where you're from, Stephen, Minnesota. It doesn't care what color you are. It really cares about your heart. You get out of it what you put into it. And I think maybe a challenge to the student athletes that are sitting here today is make the most of every single day. Give it your best effort every single day, and I guarantee you that you will not be disappointed with the results. I did think about one more thing. It's very fitting that tomorrow football team is going to take down the Yotes. The Yotes, Lars, I still get a little bit of shot of adrenaline when I see that uniform. The Yotes were our main rival, and that has not left me. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow's game. Good luck to the football team. Take care of business. Go Bison.
Ladies and gentlemen, this three-sport athlete was inducted into her high school Hall of Fame last week at Ada Borup West, where she was a Minnesota All-State volleyball performer and still holds 4 of the school's track records. She helped the Bison volleyball team to 4 NCAA tournaments, including a national runner-up performance in 1998 and the quarterfinals in 1999. NDSU won North Central Conference championships both of those years. In All-North Central Region selection in 1998, she was a 2-time All-North Central Conference performer in 1997 and 1999, 4-time NCC Setter of the Week, 3-time NCC All-Academic, and a 1991 Academic All-American. She set NDSU records for assists in a 3-set match, 56 versus Northern Michigan, and a 5-set match, 78 versus West Texas A&M, and her record for a 4-set match, 72 versus Minnesota Morris in 1997, still stands atop the record books. She still ranks 3rd all-time at North Dakota State with 4,220 assists. She led the herd in assists in 97, 98, and 99, and in service aces with 52 in 97 and 67 in 1998. She graduated from pharmacy school in 2003 and currently works as the pharmacist in charge at Essentia Health in Ada, Minnesota, where she lives with her husband Scott and children Ryan and Morgan. Please welcome for induction into the Bison Athletic Hall of Fame, Janna Ruebke Engel.
Okay, wow. Standing up here is truly humbling, and what an honor to be amongst all the fellow inductees today. Congratulations to you all, and just an awesome honor. Never thought I'd be up here, so this is just a great experience. Volleyball it's been such a huge part of my life, and especially being here. My journey, it was shaped actually by you others more so than myself and my own efforts. So growing up, I grew up in Ada, Minnesota, which is not that far from here, and my parents took me to NDSU volleyball games as a kid. And I remember sitting in the stands and watching the matches. It really wide-eyed. Like, it was fast, tempoed, great athletes, just watching them with so much admiration. And when you think to yourself, watching that as a kid, you know what? I am gonna be the next great outside hitter for NDSU. I don't know, did you catch that outside hitter part? Oh, I wasn't recruited as a setter. My freshman year, I was fighting for an outside hitter defensive specialist position. We were led my freshman year by our 3-time All-American senior Pam Stencil, who's also in the Hall of Fame. She was a great leader, great setter, and had a great time my freshman year getting in some games, playing some defense. And after that fall season was done, Pam graduated. And we had a couple setters on our roster that transferred. And we have a spring season. So playing and preparing for spring, I get thinking I'm going to practice service eve, and Zondra goes, "Hey, Janna, why don't you target for passing?" I'm like, "Oh, okay. And why don't you try setting some of these passes?" Okay. And did that, and then, "Hey, you know what, Janna, let's have you set in this drill." Okay. "You know, we're gonna play 6-on-6, and we're gonna have you set on this side." Okay. And I was kind of shocked a little bit and decided, okay, you know, I'm gonna embrace this. I'm a team player. I'm gonna do anything I can to get on that court. And setting is hard as a beginner. I was running around with my head cut off and running in circles, and with a lot of reps. Thank you to Zondra, Bob, and Pam Stencil came on as a GA that spring. The running in circles got less and less. Playing some matches. I'm gonna just apologize right off the bat to Oli, Krista, Kara, Shar, Jamie, Carrie, and Jerry. You know, the first try at it was so bad, I'm sorry. It was bad for you too. And the spring season was saved because I did set in one game and Pam would set in the next game, so at least our hitters were satisfied one of the sets with Pam. You know, and so, gosh, after that, you know, long story short, I set my sophomore through senior year. A lot of reps, a lot of team effort, went to 2 Elite Eights. It was just the greatest experience. And, you know, I want to thank my hitters for making my mediocre sets look really good. And thank God we had the best passers in the country so that I did not have to run as much as some setters do. Some of the fun stories that I remember, so Pam Stencil teaching me how to play cribbage in the back of the bus. I got to play middle hitter my freshman year when Kara and I collided heads diving for a ball, and we only had one sub left, so Kara had to get subbed out. And Shar, Pam, and I were in the front row, and I was the one who got to play middle. And I got a touch on the block. I remember walking up Weibel Hall steps backwards because during preseason I was so sore. I remember as a freshman, Carrie, Jerry, and I had to sing the school song in the dining hall and in front of all the fall season sports. Well, at least 2 of us sang the song. Sorry, Carrie, you didn't get up there. I remember going to Zondra's Lake. We went to Star Lake for preseason for a weekend every year. And I remember driving the boat when Zondra was skiing and she crashed and ruptured her eardrum. I was driving. I remember our walk runs. We had to walk and run. I also remember in the heat of matches, I would call out a play. So I would, our outside hitter was hitting a certain kind of set. Our middle was hitting something else, and our right side was hitting another type of attack. And it would change every play. Every play we'd change something. And you know, we lost a few points in a row, and Zondra would take a timeout, and she'd pull me aside and say, okay, we're gonna run a 5, slide, and a 2. And I said, that's what I had called. And it was, I think 95% of the time, we have the same play called for the next play. I also remember sandbagging in 1997. That was the year of the flood, so my freshman year, all of us athletes, we went to Sandbag Central and helped sandbag for the community. I also remember our team was very competitive. We were all like-minded. We all wanted to win, which is why we did win a lot of matches. But during practice, we would come here. There used to be a pool in here, and we would play water polo, and we tried to drown each other. That's how competitive we were. I also remember Jerry, so my teammate, she was a very good artist, drawer. So she drew characters for all of our teams. So each person had a picture that she drew. And my particular picture, instead of a body, it was books. It was pharmacy books up to my eyeballs. I also remember getting a medication shot in my head after having a migraine for 3 days, and we had a playoff game, and I told Zandra that I'm fine. I remember going to 2 Elite Eights and being national runners-up in 1998, kind of the peak of our career, one of the best moments that I can remember. And then as far as career goes, this is the most important. We were 8-0 versus the Sioux. Enough said. I do want to take this opportunity to thank my family, Mom and Dad, who are here. You played such a huge role in my volleyball career growing up early on. Thank you for making that homemade net in our backyard for me, and all the traveling and weekends spent in the gym for me. Little sister Becky, who's here, thank you for always rooting for me. And it was also super fun watching you play, because she also played here after me. Thank you, Scott, my husband, for always being my biggest fan. You knew it was meant to be when he road tripped to an Elite Eight with my family and still married me. And so thank you, and I love you, and I love our kids. My son Ryan, who's not here today, I want to wish him the best of luck in the MIAC Golf Championship. That's this weekend. And Morgan, thank you for being here. And she is also gonna be a Bison next year, so it'll be fun watching you play volleyball here next year. And I also want to thank my extended family. So that's my Bison family. Thank you, teammates. You are my best friends. It was such a blast being here with you, and it's been years since I've seen some of you, and it's like yesterday. It's awesome. And, not just my teammates that I played with, so a Bison family is very extended. And so to my elders, I so appreciate you being here today, and I love you all. Thank you for being here. And last but not least, Zandra, I would not be up here today without the vision that you had for me, and the faith you put in me. You knew that I had that competitive fire and that chess match mentality to be a setter. Thank you so much for believing in me, and go Bison.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next inductee finished 5th on NDSU's all-time scoring list with 1,500 points, 540 points. Second in field goal percentage at 56.2%, fourth in field goals made, and fifth in blocked shots with 68. He scored 563 points his senior year. That's fourth most in Bison history at that time. He is one of only 4 players to lead the Bison in scoring 3 consecutive seasons, along with Hall of Fame members Mark Bachmeier, Mike Kupik, and Denver Tenbrook. After graduating from North Dakota State, he played 1 season of basketball in Austria for the Dorban Lions before returning to school. He earned his master's degree in public administration at St. Mary's University and has attended the Northwestern University School of Police Staff and Command. He is in his 27th year with the Minneapolis Police Department, where he was named Police Officer of the Year in 2008, was promoted to Sergeant in 2011, and Lieutenant in 2019. He has served as Commander of the Internal Affairs Unit, Special Crime Division, and Homelessness Unit, and is currently Lieutenant of Investigations for the 5th Precinct. He and his wife Emily have 2 children, Ella and Ben. We proudly present for induction into the Bison Athletic Hall of Fame, Brian Sand.
Well, thank you guys. It's truly an honor to stand here today. I want to sincerely thank the Hall of Fame Committee for this incredible recognition. This moment wouldn't be possible without some of my great teammates that I played with. I had the privilege to play with some of whom are here today. Playing basketball was an amazing experience, but even more meaningful were the friendships I built along the way. Rob Stefanowitz, who is here today, and whose son is on the team, was an incredible mentor to me. I spent many hours in his dorm room seeking advice and having laughs. Ross Manson was another mentor and friend, though he couldn't make it today. Apparently attending the Ryder Cup was more important. To be honest, it's amazing I scored as many points as I did with Ross on the team. He was always reluctant to throw it down low, so he never saw a three-pointer that he didn't want to shoot. So, Jim Argent, aka Buzz, here. My great roommate is also here as well. We made countless memories living in University Village. Playing at NDSU also gave me the chance to play with Nick Ron, my best friend, and someone I still rely on every day and have many laughs together. Nick, Jim, and I, along with 18 others, continue to play in a golf event we call the Lumberjack Cup, which just celebrated our 25th consecutive year. These friendships are invaluable and what I cherish most from my time here. This honor wouldn't have been possible without my first coach, Engel, who recruited me and saw my potential. I'll never forget when the entire coaching staff showed up to my high school all-star game, and that's when I knew that this was the place for me. I committed right then and there to become a Bison. Irv had an incredible eye for recruiting big men, and I always looked up to guys like Lance Burrell and Drew Rainier, ones who played before me here. But my journey didn't start off easy. I redshirted my first year and sat on the bench as the team finished 5-13 in the conference, 9th in the conference. It was frustrating to feel so helpless while we struggled to win games. At the end of the season, Irv was no longer the coach. The person who believed in me was gone. Coach Billiter came in, and I had to prove myself all over again. My freshman year started pretty good, but I broke a bone in my foot early in the season and missed a month and struggled to regain my confidence. I'll never forget being subbed into the game, losing a rebound on a free throw, and immediately being taken out. I didn't play again that season, scoring 79 points as we finished 8th in the conference. After the season, the coach called me in his office and told me I had to show him something or I'd lose my scholarship. That moment was a turning point in my life, the first real adversity I've ever faced. I could have transferred, felt sorry for myself, and given up. Up to that point, I relied on talent alone and never really worked hard or was tested. But that summer I made a decision. I was going to prove that I belonged. I worked a surveying job to make money since my family didn't have much. After long days pounding stakes into the ground, I went straight to the gym to lift weights and work on conditioning because I was always tired of always finishing last in sprints. I came back determined, and it paid off. I led the team in scoring, and we finished one game away from reaching the Elite Eight, placing second in the conference with a 21-9 record. I kept that work ethic going, leading the team in scoring for the next 2 years, and helped us get us back into the playoffs those 2 years. But more than basketball skills, playing at NDSU taught me how to deal with adversity. I learned that tough times don't last, but tough-minded people do. That lesson became the foundation for the rest of my life. I've always dreamed about becoming a Minneapolis police officer, serving the community, and helping those in need. This mindset carried me through 27 years on the department, being named Officer of the Year in 2008, and earning promotions to Sergeant, Lieutenant, and eventually Commander. It got me through 8 grueling months at the police academy, running miles, pushing squad cars uphill, and doing knuckle push-ups on the pavement. It carried me through a decade, walking the beat at Chicago Franklin Avenue, one of the most dangerous areas in the city, where we dealt with gangs, drugs, and shootings. It took me to New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina to help the city get back on its feet, through the I-35W bridge collapse, and just last month to Annunciation Church, only blocks from my house, where I responded to a school shooting. The greatest challenge, though, came in 2020 during the riots, watching the city burn, including the 3rd Precinct, where I spent 12 years of my career. Half the department eventually left, but quitting never crossed my mind. I leaned on what I learned here at NDSU. Tough times don't last, but tough-minded people do. Today, my most important job is passing that mindset on to my children, alongside with my beautiful wife. Thank you, NDSU, for giving me the opportunity to play basketball and for teaching me lessons that shaped my life. I'm truly blessed. Thank you. Go Bison.
Our next inductee would not let 2 ACL injuries in high school stop him. This graduate of Overland High School in Aurora, Colorado, stayed the course and became a 2-sport star in college. The Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference Indoor Track Freshman of the Year for Nebraska Kearney in 2002. He later transferred to North Dakota State and spent 3 seasons in the Bison track program and 2 seasons in the Bison football program. He became a 4-time Division II All-America, running on the national runner-up 4x400 outdoor relay in 2004 and finishing 6th in the 4x100 relay. He earned back-to-back All-America honors in the outdoor 100 meters, placing 8th in 2003 and 5th in 2004. An 8-time North Central Conference champion and 3-time Division I independent champion, he won the NCC Indoor 200 meters in 2004, swept the NCC Outdoor 100 and 200 meters in 2003 and 2004, and then won both of the events at the 2005 D1 Independent Championships. He ran on 4 conference-winning relay teams. He still holds the distinction of fastest man in North Dakota State University history, with school records in the 100-meter dash at 10.22 seconds and the 200-meter dash at 20.69 seconds. Plus the 4x200 and the 4x400 indoor relays and the outdoor 4x200 relay. An honorable mention, all-conference wide receiver in 2003, his 56 receptions that year were second most in NDSU single-season history. He had 570 yards and 4 touchdowns, plus 3 rushing touchdowns on 3 carries. He was part of NDSU's first Division I football team in 2004 and had 1,466 all-purpose yards in 2 years as a receiver and return specialist for the Herd. He graduated from North Dakota State with a degree in criminal justice before playing professionally with the Saskatchewan Roughriders in the CFL, with the Sioux Falls Storm and the Omaha Beef in the indoor football leagues from 2006 to 2012. After his football career, he served as a probation officer for the state of Nebraska for 3 years before returning to education full-time as the Director of Student Advocacy and Outreach at Creighton Prep in Omaha. He completed a master's degree in health, nutrition, and exercise science at North Dakota State University in 2018. He is currently a physical education teacher and the head football coach at Millard North High School in Omaha, where he lives with his wife Hattie and 2 sons, Alan and Gray. We proudly welcome to the Bison Athletic Hall of Fame, Alan Burrell, Jr.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm an educator. I speak in front of students every day, as well as my team, but I'm still nervous, so bear with me on this. First and foremost, I got to make sure I give thanks to those who poured into me and helped me along my journey, helped me give a vision. I wouldn't be here today without them. So just be patient as I make sure I give them their acknowledgement and their thanks. First and foremost, I want to give the glory to God. Without his guidance, blessing, none of this will be possible. And I say that with convictionship. For a while, I lost my faith. And recently, my wife and I, we've kind of been regaining that and kind of walking our path and worshiping together. So I really give thanks to him for guiding me and getting me back on the right track. Also like to thank the Hall of Fame Committee for recognizing my journey and bestowing this great honor. It's a privilege to represent this institution and also be a part of the Hall of Fame. North Dakota State has been more than a school to me. It's been the foundation. This institution gave me the space, the resource, the community to chase my dreams. And I'd like to say congratulations to all the inductees. It's an honor to stand alongside you all. To the real MVPs, the most valuable parents, my mom, my dad, thank you for everything. Your guidance, your leadership, your challenge, your faith in me. No matter my setbacks, you always encourage me to chase my dreams. My mom, thank you for everything, personally. I think I get my athletic ability from you. I wasn't able to beat you till I was about 12, 13 years old in the street race. I think I get my brash confidence from my father, as his nickname is Cocky. But he instilled everything in me. I watched him work for 40 years at the same company, providing, never complaining, always making sure we always had what we needed. I'd like to thank my brother, being my first role model, just setting the foundation for me and showing me what sports was all about, as well as guiding me. I also like to thank my wife and my 2 boys for taking this journey with me. We left Omaha, I think, about 10 o'clock after our game last night. My wife, she handled the first shift, and I brought her home, so I appreciate you guys. And now they know that mom is not the only athlete in the house. She was a great one in her right as well. To my youth track coaches, Marcus Walker, Bill Edwards, thank you for instilling discipline and a love for competition. You took the raw foundation my parents poured and helped shape it with purpose. To Coach Bowl, Coach Larson, Coach Keller, your leadership went beyond athletics. You taught me how to compete with class, humility, and never stop growing. I carry those lessons with me today as I coach as well. Coach Larson, special individual to me, always supported me, always had my back. No matter what I was going through, you was always there for me. You provided a place for me to grow, not only as an athlete, but as a person. And one thing I will always remember you telling me, and it sticks with me today as a father, your job as an older person is to make sure you take care of the little people and make them grow. And I make sure I wear that proudly on my chest every day as an educator. To my teammates, would you please stand up? It's a plethora of you in here. Would you please stand up? Yeah, Marcus, Sept, Jamel, Nick Schomer, I see you. Marcus Johnson, Dave, Earl, get up. Reese Vega, Aakre. I want to personally thank each and every one of you for pushing me, challenging me, and making me a better person, make me a better human being as well. Thank you. And the brotherhood is real, so I appreciate that. And you can tell by each individual showing up for this occasion. Thank you, man. Another special teammate. None of this would be possible if it wasn't for him. Our conversation in Boston, Massachusetts, at the Reggie Lewis Center, our freshman year at Nationals, Indoor Nationals. Marcus Johnson, you are more than a teammate. You are a brother. I appreciate everything you've done for me. Without your guidance, your vision, for us to collaborate, be teammates, none of this would be possible. And I truly mean that. You're more than a brother to me. It's real family. Thank you, young man. NDSU. Oh, you can give him a round of applause, too. NDSU, it just wasn't a place that I played or was a student. It's a part of who I am. I learned integrity matters here. This great university has shaped me in many ways. Through Jesuit education, I learned two terms, demagis, which means to give more, to do more, or cure personalis, right, to take care of the whole person. And this institution provided those opportunities for me, not only on the athletic playing field, but as well as in the classroom. And the memories, man, how can I forget? Some things we can't talk about. I perfected my charm here, and a lot of other things, but the memories, a few that stick out. The Montana 2003 win, down 23 or 24-2, going into halftime. I remember Coach Bo's leadership, his poise, right? Just his mild manner, his belief in us that we were going to come back and win that game. We rattled off 23 unanswered points, beat Montana on their home field. I think they were probably the defending runner-up or defending national championships the previous year before. That set the foundation for Bison football to move on. There we go. My track and field team, 2004, we were trying to close out Division II, giving Lars his first national championship. We didn't complete the goal, but we did place top 3, the highest ranking an NDSU track and field men's program has ever placed. I had the privilege of sharing the track with 3 other Hall of Famers, Jared Essler, Marcus Johnson, Andrew Aakre. We got to compete together, break records together, and one what stands out to me vividly is the 2004 Drake Relays. You have a team from North Dakota lining up against the big boys, bringing in the goal. I appreciate those young men. I appreciate that experience. Setting the 100-meter record, the 200-meter record here at home were valuable things in my own personal career that I worked so hard for, but couldn't done it without the leadership of my teammates, my coaches. The impact NDSU goes beyond just records and awards. This community values excellence in every area, especially academics. The education I received prepared me for life beyond sports. It taught me discipline, time management, and how to think critically. That foundation has carried me through every step of my career. To be a Bison is a lifelong honor. This place built me, challenged me, believed in me. For that, I will always be grateful. I am humbled and proud to be inducted to the North Dakota State Hall of Fame. Thank you for everyone who walked my journey with me. I cherish you, I cherish this experience, and thank you for everything you have done so far. Appreciate it. Go Bison.
Bison Nation, this 5-time state champion and 16-time place winner for Fargo South High School, broke the state triple jump record in 8th, 10th, and 12th grade, and still holds the Class A state record 27 years later with a mark of 37 feet, 4 1/4 inches. North Dakota's most valuable female track athlete in 1998, she was a recipient of the Wendy's High School Heisman Award and has been inducted into the North Dakota High School Track and Field Hall of Fame and the Fargo South Hall of Fame. A 10-time All-American for NDSU in the high jump, long jump, and triple jump, her second place finish in the triple jump helped the Bison win the 2002 NCAA Division II Indoor National Championship. She earned All-America honors in all 3 events at the 2002 Outdoor and 2003 Indoor National Meets. She won 4 North Central Conference individual titles and was a 26-time place winner, scoring points for the Bison on 4 NCC Indoor and 4 NCC Outdoor championship teams. The 2003 NCC Indoor Championship MVP and North Central Region Indoor Athlete of the Year. She still ranks in the top 10 in school history in 5 events. In the indoor triple jump, 40 feet 7 inches. The high jump, 5 feet 8.5 inches. The outdoor long jump, 19 feet 11 inches. The triple jump, 41 feet 10 3/4 inches. And the high jump, 5 feet 9 inches. A former executive director of Red River Valley Habitat for Humanity, she currently works part-time with Math Corps, tutoring elementary students in math. She lives in Fargo with her husband, Mac, and their 2 daughters, Merritt and Cameron. We proudly present for induction into the Bison Athletic Hall of Fame, Kristen Cummins Schneider.
Oh, hello. I guess the tough thing about going this far down in the lineup is that everyone has already said all the things that I wanted to say, so I guess I could just say thank you and walk off the stage. But unfortunately for all of you, I am not going to do that. So I owe a huge thank you to NDSU and the Hall of Fame Committee for considering me for this honor. Just knowing the number of amazing student athletes NDSU has had over the years, it's no easy task for them, I'm sure. And after reading the bios and hearing all the accolades of all the athletes, and being teammates with a couple of them and seeing their amazing accomplishments firsthand, I really feel a little undeserving of this award, but hey, if they're willing to give it to me, then I will definitely take it. So I'd like to start by thanking Coach Jerry Gores. I don't think he's here today, but he not only recognized my past high school successes, but saw my future potential and believed in me enough to be persistent during the recruiting process because I did not make it easy on him. Being from Fargo, I'd always planned on going far away to school and moving out of state. So I didn't really take my first recruiting trip with him very seriously, but I was honest with him about that, and he knew that, and he was persistent and kind of stuck around and kept checking in with me from time to time. And as school got closer and closer to starting, I kind of had a change of heart and decided I wasn't quite ready to move so far away. And thankfully, Coach Gores was there to swoop on in. So that's how I became a Bison. And being a member of the NDSU track and field team has given me so many opportunities and experiences that I definitely would not have had if I'd gone anywhere else. I like to think that being on the NDSU track team back then was what it might feel like to be a football player on the team now, that you know all the other teams are competing, just hoping to get second place. I mean, here I am, being inducted into the Hall of Fame and recognized for my athletic accomplishments, but oftentimes I couldn't even beat my own teammates. I think Andy had talked about that earlier. Some of our toughest competitors were our friends and teammates. I do feel a bit better, though, about myself, knowing that one of my toughest competitors, who was my teammate and good friend, went on to compete in the 2012 Olympics, so I guess I never really stood a chance. The thank yous, I should say, that kind of a dominant program definitely doesn't happen by accident. NDSU has always had some of the most amazing coaches and still does to this day. I had actually quite a few of them during my time there. Like I said, Coach Gores, recruited me, but left shortly after about halfway through my freshman year. He'd been there forever, but left to pursue a different career path. And then if I remember correctly, which is doubtful, but Brent Parmer and the men's head coach, Don Larson, kind of stepped in for a year in the interim. And then finally, Ryan Godfrey took over as the head coach my final 2 years. But Brent Parmer was my long and triple jump coach, and we've heard a lot about Don Larson, but his wife Desiree Larson was my high jump coach while I was here at NDSU. And so those are the two that I spent the vast majority of my time with. I always think coaches have just a really tough, kind of a unique job, successful coaches anyway, because they work with so many different athletes, and everyone has such a different personality and a different style, and they really need to know each individual and know what works for each person, and that can depend on the situation, and it can vary from day to day. And if any of you know me, you know that I was never really a super intense, like in the zone type of competitor. I always did much better when I kind of just went out there, didn't think about things too much, kept it light and had fun. And I think some coaches may not appreciate that approach because they may have thought that I'm not taking things very seriously. But Parmer and Des knew me well enough to know that every single time I stepped out on the track, I was there to win 100% of the time. I was just going to do it with a laugh and a smile on my face. So I couldn't have asked for two better coaches suited to me. They always understood when to push me a little more and when to back off, because I think, like most athletes, I was often my own worst critic. I also had some of the very best teammates while I was on the team at NDSU, and I know everyone says that about their teammates, but I think it's really true for me. Admittedly, I haven't kept in touch with them as well as I should have, but they were among some of the first to send me congratulatory messages when when they found out I was being inducted into the Hall of Fame. Your teammates are some of the very few people who really understand the level of commitment and dedication it takes to be a collegiate athlete. And so I just know that no matter where life has taken us over the years, those are special bonds that we'll always share, and that most other people don't really understand. Well, the thank yous don't end there, obviously. They really should start with my very first and my earliest and strongest supporters, my parents, Mike and Mary. They've spent countless hours over the years dragging me around to different games and practices, and then as we got older, traveling all around the country for different track meets and all kinds of games. And I don't think they've ever missed a single competition or game of mine. And if you've ever had to sit out at a track meet for like 6 hours in the freezing rain, you can understand just what they've had to endure to be there to support me. Then I have my husband and kids to thank. My husband, Mac, and we've been together since I was 16. He was 17, so no like shady business going on there. So my parents obviously have him beat out in terms of the timing of things, but when it comes to the level of support and encouragement, he has definitely been a tough rival with them. And we've been together for nearly 30 years now, so he's been there through all of life's up and downs and my athletic accomplishments and failures. But I think that one of the toughest things we've survived as a couple maybe has been being fierce college rivals. Mac played football at UND, which is not something we talk about in this crowd, and just goes to show that not everyone's perfect. But close, but not quite. But he played on the 2001 national championship team, and I think that he was so proud of himself, obviously for winning the game, but I also think he thought he had finally one-upped me in terms of athletic accomplishments. But then, as you all know by now, just a few short months later, we went on to win our own national championship. So the playing field has been leveled, and the competition lives on. And then my two daughters, I have Merritt and Cameron. And one of the best things about this whole process has been my girls getting to see me in a different light. They just know me as mom, the one who packs their snacks and nags them to brush their teeth and pretty much embarrasses them on the regular, which I'm sure is embarrassing for them just that I said that. And they never knew me as sort of like the badass athlete who could high jump over her own head. So it's been a fun reminder for them and for myself, honestly, that I actually used to be pretty good at something, you know? So, being an NDSU track athlete has brought me so much more than records and accolades. It's given me resilience, lifelong friendships, and a real deep appreciation for what it takes to chase your goals. And those are the same lessons that I hope to instill in my girls throughout their lives. So thank you again so much. This is such an amazing honor. I'm super humbled and so proud to be a Bison. So thank you all again. Thank you all for being here to help support and celebrate all the inductees, and congrats to everyone else. Thank you.
I was just backstage with our next inductee, trying to get a look at his Super Bowl ring. He didn't bring it. A three-sport athlete at Mankato East High School, this future NFL safety earned first-team All-State honors in Minnesota as a quarterback with more than 5,100 yards and total offense and 57 touchdowns over the final 2 years of his prep career. He was a 3-year starter at strong safety for the Bison, earning all Great West Football Conference first-team honors in 2004 and 2006, and second team in 2005. He was a 2-time Great West Defensive Player of the Week, 3-time Great West All-Academic honoree, and a 2006 Academic All-American. He set the NDSU career record for solo tackles with 132 and finished his 43-game Bison career with 229 total tackles, 7 interceptions, 11 pass breakups, and 2 block kicks. A captain on the 2005 and 2006 teams, he was part of a Great West Conference Championship in 2006, played in the 2007 North-South All-Star Classic, and was selected to the NFL Scouting Combine. An undrafted free agent, he signed with the New York Giants and played 9 games for the Super Bowl champions his rookie year in 2007. He returned to the field in 2009 after 2 ACL injuries and played 4 seasons with the Rams, 2 years with the 49ers, and closed his 9-year NFL career with the Giants in 2015. Following his football career, he and his wife Bree started a medical device distribution company, Advanced Medical Solutions. They also have business interests in commercial and residential real estate development and short-term rental properties in Minnesota, Oklahoma, and Texas. They have 2 boys, Brecken and Statler, and enjoy spending time enjoying their ranch near Dallas, Texas, where they raise cattle. Please welcome for induction into the Bison Athletic Hall of Fame, Craig Dahl.
Congratulations to my fellow inductees. Your achievements inspire me and will continue to inspire the generations to come. I am truly humbled to stand here today and accept this incredible honor. I could never take credit for this moment alone. So many people were instrumental in my success and development while at NDSU. I want to thank the selection committee, the athletic administration, my coaches and trainers, Craig Bowl, Bob Babich, Jim Kramer, Casey Bradley, Jimmy Burrows, Willie Matt Garza, Bruce Somm, Scott Woken, my teammates, many of which are here today, team makers, our fans, Bison Nation, and most importantly, my family. Choosing North Dakota State was an easy decision. I wanted a place where I could get a great education, compete at a high level, and grow both as a player and a person. NDSU offered all of that and more. It wasn't just about winning, it was about winning the right way, with the tradition of excellence built on strong values. When I committed, NDSU was taking on a huge challenge, moving from Division II to Division I. There was a new coaching staff, uncertainty about conference affiliation, and plenty of unknowns. But what was crystal clear was the unwavering support of the university, the community, and the players. I've never been one to shy away from a challenge and was excited to tackle it head on. From the moment I arrived as a freshman, it was obvious that accountability, integrity, and selflessness weren't just words here. They were core values. Those values shaped me, not only during my time at NDSU, but throughout my playing career in the NFL and my life today. Success does not come easy. The path is long and filled with ups and downs, but if you're willing to push yourself consistently beyond your comfort zone, you will discover greatness. Coach Bull used to tell us before practice, "Gentlemen, bring your hard hat and lunch pail. It's going to be a work day." Talent alone only takes you so far. What made the difference was our willingness to put in the work every single day. That mentality ran through the entire program, from the coaches to the players and everyone in between. I'll never forget when I asked why we didn't have names on the back of our jerseys. The answer was simple. It's because you play for the name on the front, not the back. That team-first mentality was ingrained in me from day one and passed down from the upperclassmen and the teams before me. It was my responsibility to pass it down to the next generation. For me, no one embodied selflessness more than my brother. He joined the Bison a year before me as a walk-on defensive end. He was undersized for the position, but never let that hold him back. Day after day, he gave everything he had on the look team, preparing our offense for battle. He lived in the weight room, packed in every calorie he could, and by his senior year, earned a starting role in all conference honors. His relentless effort and sacrifice became the foundation of our team's success. And knowing he was out there gave me all the confidence in the world at safety that that quarterback was not holding onto the ball more than 3 seconds. Another key influence was Michael Shepard, our senior strong safety when I arrived. Coming from high school, I had very little experience playing defense. Our coaches in high school, they wouldn't let me for fear of me getting hurt at losing a quarterback. So when I showed up here, Michael could have easily left me to figure it out on my own. Instead, he took me under his wing, taught me the game, and set the standard for leadership. His energy and mentorship shaped me, and I did my best to carry that forward, that same responsibility to the younger players who followed. Of course, none of this would have been possible without my parents. From endless rides to practice and games to playing catch in the backyard, they were always there, supporting me, encouraging me, and sacrificing for me. And I want to especially thank my wife. She has stood by me through the highs and lows, and she continues to live out the same values of accountability, integrity, and selflessness as a wife and a mother to our 2 boys. The way she supports our family and sets an example for our sons is a daily reminder of what true strength and love look like. So today, I stand here filled with gratitude to everyone who believed in me, challenged me, and walked beside me through victory and defeat. Thank you. I look forward to continuing to support Bison Athletics and sharing what I've learned and being an ambassador for this program and this sport that has given me so much. Go Bison.
What an impressive group of humans. How about one more round of applause for this year's inductees? We've got some house cleaning measures in just a moment, but at this time, would you please direct your attention to the video screens and join the NDSU concert choir in singing The Yellow and the Green. And I suppose we should all stand for this too, huh?
Never shame.
reminder to all 8 of the Hall of Fame inductees to come to the stage at this time with your trophy for a group photo. On your way out, please stop and see the names of these Bison legends now on display in the Hall of Fame here in the Sanford Health Athletic Complex. Homecoming events continue this afternoon with the Bison Bash from 4 to 6:30 p.m. at Churchill Field, and the Homecoming Parade beginning at 6 p.m. on University Drive, and of course kickoff early tomorrow, 1 o'clock at the Fargo Dome. Thank you for attending today, and once again, congratulations to our newest members of the Bison Athletic Hall of Fame. Thank you for coming. Have a great afternoon, and enjoy your weekend.